Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Andrew Mitchell. What I'm going to talk about was how I came up with the world to Binlowes Locker. And I had the concept for the feature for a long time, just in the back of my head, and I didn't know the best way to write it out into a story. Because I grew up with watching like 90s cyberpunk films, and I always loved that. Very inspired by different, of course, Blade Runner and Ghost in the Shell. I just grew up watching those types of stories. The early drafts, again, are pretty hilarious. So what I had to do is find ways to anchor the world, anchor the characters in reality. And I feel like that's the first step. Like any film, I don't care what it is, you have to develop the world. You have to develop the characters and the world they inhabit. And yeah, that has to feel organic. The best way to do that, I found, is to anchor your world in something mundane that everybody does, right? Like Children of Men did this flawlessly. Like in the very beginning, he's going to just get a cup of coffee. Pretty normal, but when he's going to go get this cup of coffee, we see all the near future stuff in the future city and whatnot. Another inspiration for Binlowes Locker was Road to Perdition. And it just was fascinated how the moment you watch Road to Perdition, you're in that world. Like you feel like you're in the 1930s. When I was creating this world for Binlowes Locker, creating the short film and writing that, what I did, like any good filmmaker, any good writer, I became like a detective, and I did a lot of research into the like cyborgs, like realistic ways that they would exist and how to depict that, and like robot bartenders, is that going to be a thing? Robot baristas, is that going to be a thing? Service robots on the street cleaning stuff, like whatever, like how believable is that? And again, like a lot of this stuff that I researched wasn't ever going to be in the film, and I knew that. But I feel like whenever you're making a short film or any film, even if it's not going to be in the final product, you kind of feel it when you watch the film. You feel like it feels like an organic world that you're witnessing. Another thing I researched for Binlowes, which you don't see it really in the film that much, but how this mega corporation, Loganheim, which is basically one of the biggest defense contractors in the world, and they're responsible for the cyborgs everyone knows. Like they have the mechanical prosthetic arm, the robotic prosthetic arm. They have the bionic eyes. And then I came up with the concept of you have a newer corporation that comes out with a different type of cyborg where instead of a robotic prosthetic arm or something, it's bioengineered and grown in a lab, and they take a sample of your DNA and like acts like your real arm, and they can even reproduce like moles and all this stuff, so it looks 100% real. So I feel like whenever you're gonna come up with like a world for your short film, like just do a ton of research on creating a world that is like believable for your story, and you want the audience to be just sucked into it, right? You're not just putting like audio and video together and presenting it, right? Your job, if you're doing it correctly, is to create a cinematic experience for the viewer.